Yes. Very good evening, students. Very good evening. It is the third day for live stream of science revision. You can say a helping video so that you can have some amount of revision before the exam. We have already covered physics and biology in the previous two live classes. Now today we will be having our chemistry live, where we will be discussing important questions and some concepts related to using the questions only. We will revise those concepts with the help of questions. Okay. I hope the last two videos were very much helpful for you. Now we will be having third and last topic, video for science before the exam. So let us start the class. The first question of the chemistry over here is, find the incorrect 6 statements among this, where the first statement is that the pH of the stomach is approximately 4.5. Plants grow well in natural soil. The pH of acid rain is nearly 5.6 and the pH of rainwater is nearly 7. Okay. So among this statement, the obvious one which is incorrect would be the pH of the stomach is approximately 4.5, because we are aware about that the pH is roughly between 1.5 to 3.5. Roughly between 1.5 to 3.5. That is the pH value of what you say acid. It is acidic in nature. Stomach is, it releases hydrochloric acid. So that pH value would be roughly around 1.5 to 3.5. So this statement is incorrect one. About plant grows well in natural soil, that is true. It grows well in natural soil. A pH of acid rain is nearly 5.6. That is also quite correct, that acid rain happens, then that the pH would be 5.6 roughly around. And rainwater is nearly 7. If it is a pure rainwater, then not an acid rain, then it is a 7. Okay. Chalo. Next. The soap doesn't work well with woolen garments because it is basic in nature and woolen garments have acidic dyes. It is acidic in nature and woolen garments have basic dyes. So obviously both the statements could not be the correct one. So we are to identify which is the correct statement. Now soap we are discussing about. So soap cannot be acidic in nature. Why? Because sometimes when we are burned, we try to have soap onto it so that it reacts with the acid and it contradicts and neutralizes itself and become neutral. Okay. So as soap is basic in nature, so this would be our answer. So among these options, the correct option should be A. Next. The metal and a non-metal that exist, in liquid states at room temperature are respectively. In a liquid state, these metals and non-metals exist in a liquid state. Which metal and a non-metal remains in a liquid state? Mercury or bromine, iodine or mercury, bromine and mercury, and mercury and iodine. Now here you can use little bit amount of brain, and you can say that the first one should be metal and the second one should be non-metal. So here in these two options, mercury is in the second place, which is totally wrong. So they cannot be our answer. Okay. The remaining is mercury bromine or mercury iodine. Mercury, obviously we are aware about that mercury remains in a liquid state in a room temperature. So mercury is the obvious one. But about bromine and iodine, okay. So what could be the iodine is in a powder form. So bromine is it, which is in liquid state. Next, match the following with the correct responses. Here the groups are written and here the structure, here the chemical formula is written over there, that which kind of functional group does this functions provide. Okay, what is the functional group, chemical form of it, this is the name of it. So alcohol what could be the alcohol among A, B, C, D? Alcohol is OH. Alcohol is OH. Aldehyde. Aldehyde is CHO. Aldehyde is CHO. Then there is ketone. Ketone is in between, so there should be two branches, hence CO. And the last one remains is halogen alkane. Halogens has been used over there in alkanes. Halogens mostly they are the last second period of the periodic table. So this is the fourth one. It would be for the fourth one. It is what you can say X. So A is the answer. Okay, quite simple answers they are. Simple type of questions has been asked. Next, a metal is heated with diluted H2SO4. A metal is heated with diluted H2SO4. The gas evolved is collected by the method shown in the figure. Okay. Now, the gas is dashed in air and it is dashed in water. We are required to fill these blanks. The first option, gas is lighter than the air. It is soluble or insoluble in the air. Either they are lighter or heavier than the air, and either it is soluble or insoluble in the air. That is what we are to find. Okay. So it is a distillation process, okay, where gas has been released. Now over here it will be lighter. So these two options B and C gets discarded. Now as it is lighter and water, inside water, is it soluble or insoluble? Obviously, first of all, we must know what kind of gas is released. It is H2SO4. So if it is H2SO4, the gas which is released is hydrogen gas. Now, is hydrogen gas easily soluble in water? No, it is not soluble in water. So what can we say? It is insoluble. So our option is A. Next, consider the following statement about homologous series of carbon compound. Among these four statements, whichever statements are true, we will discuss about them, and then we will discard which is the not true one. All succeeding members differ by CH2 unit. In the homologous series is the middle link through which we will be able to increase the number of carbon compounds in that link. For that we require CH2 only. So that is the correct one. This is the correct statement. Melting point and boiling point increases with increasing molecular mass. Increase in molecular mass means we are increasing number of chains, number of carbon, number of hydrogen are being increased. If there are number of carbon and number of hydrogens are being increased and all of them are in single bond, that will be a stronger bond. So melting point is obviously going to be increased. Boiling point is obviously going to be increased. That is also correct statement. Difference in molecular masses between the two successive members is 16. Now the difference in the mass. Now what is the difference between two chains? Only CH2. What is the mass of CH2? Carbon is 12. Hydrogen is 1. But 1 times 2 becomes 2. So total CH2 you can say it is 14. Total CH2, the mass of CH2 would be 14. Hence the difference is not 16. It is 14. So this statement is wrong. And C2H2 and CH3H4, C3H4 are not successive members of alkyne series. That is also true. They are not the in homologous series. Why? Because difference between them is not 1 CH2. Mainly because the difference looks CH2. The difference between those two series is CH2. But the problem is that here there is a change in bonds. These are double bond. There is a single bond in them. Because of that reason, it is not a homologous series. So, assertion. If the pH inside the mouth decreases below 5.5, the decay of the tooth enamel begins. Now tooth decay, as we are aware about that if mouth becomes acidic in nature, the decay of tooth enamel takes place. So assertion is correct. But the reason, the bacteria present in the mouth degrades sugar and leftover food particles and produces acid that remain in the mouth after eating. That is also the correct statement. This reason is also the correct statement. But because of this reason, we cannot say that decay of enamel is a correct explanation for assertion. So both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not correct explanation. Reason is not correct explanation. Next. Soham adds a spoonful of powdered sodium hydrogen carbonate to a flask containing ethanoic acid. List two main observations. Okay, so over here, Soham adds a spoonful of powdered sodium hydrogen carbonate and ethanoic acid. Sodium hydrogen carbonate, NaHCO3, है ना? If NaHCO3 is been added with ethanoic acid, what will happen? NaHCO3, sodium hydrogen carbonate is NaHCO3 and ethanoic acid will be CH3, COOH. This will be ethanoic acid. What will be the reaction of it? What could be the reaction of it? Here there will be displacement reaction. So CH3, COONA, and as Na is been replaced by hydrogen, it will provide H2O, water, and carbon dioxide. Okay. So what are the changes you can observe? Here heat is being released, or you can say gas is being released. So temperature will be dropped, as it is the energy has been released. So temperature will be dropped. Effervescence, because of carbon dioxide release, there will be effervescence in the solution. So these are the two main observations of this experiment. And then it has been asked, write chemical equation. So this is the chemical equation that we wrote. This is the chemical equation required for the given experiment. Okay. Now next question. Silver chloride kept in a china dish turns grey in sunlight. Write the color of the silver chloride when it was kept in the china dish. Silver chloride is being kept in the china dish which turns grey in sunlight. Now what would be the original and the actual color of silver chloride before it was brought down to sunlight? The actual color is white in color. It is white in color. Name the type of chemical reaction taking place and write the chemical equation. We have to write the chemical equation over here. Now silver chloride, it is AgCl, is reacting with, it has been heated, only sunlight is given, so it will provide us pure silver and chloride will be released. Then you can have balancing of it. If you will balance it, what will you get? Here 2 chlorine is there, so 2 over here and 2 over here. So this will be our chemical reaction. And what will be the name of it? It is photochemical decomposition. Okay. State one use of reaction. Name one more chemical which can be used for the same purpose. So what is the use of it? Photography. Earlier it was used, right now also many places it has been used for, but for photography this process was useful. And other than AgCl or silver chloride, you can say silver bromide, AgBr. AgBr can also be used over there. Next, A student turns a metal A found in the form of ribbon. Burns the metal A found in the form of ribbon. The ribbon burns with a dazzling flame and a white powder B is formed, which is basic in nature. Identify A and B. Write the balanced chemical equation. Now mainly when it is being asked about ribbon, you should be very much prepared that that ribbon must be of magnesium. Mainly magnesium questions are the must. Questions are there in the of magnesium in the exams. So magnesium, here also the A compound which has been used is magnesium. Now what is formed? What is formed over here? What can we say what is formed over here? Magnesium, when it has been burned, it becomes magnesium oxide. So it is MgO. So it is MgO. And then if you have a reaction of it, then Mg plus O2 gives MgO. And if you balance it, you will get 2 Mg over here and 2 over here. It will be balancing of it. Clear? Simple? So next. Samples of 4 metals A, B, C and D were taken and added to the following solutions. These kinds of questions are also very much important. In the exam, these questions will be there. At least one question where they will be asking about different compounds. They will ask you to provide the solutions or the fill in the blanks of this table. Which is the most reactive metal? Which is the most reactive metal? Now, without knowing what would be A, B, C, D, we will be just able to, we are just required to say which is the most reactive metal. Okay, so these are the metals A, B, C and D. Now, from this, what can you say which is the most reactive one? From the first only, iron. Iron, where it is most reactive metal, iron which is the most reactive metal, it is been having no reaction with other metals, but with B, it is having displacement reaction. Iron is the most reactive one, so it should not have any displacement reaction. But as it is able to have displacement reaction with B, but not with other 3, so what can you say? B is the most reactive metal. Now, second question, what would you observe if B is added to copper sulfate? B is added to copper sulfate. So now iron, more reactive than iron. What can you have? Your options are, from that options, you can say that copper is the only one. Copper is the only one which you can replace iron, which can replace iron. So over here, copper sulfate. With copper sulfate it is. So according to the observation, we can say that here copper sulfate is been used over here to in the second places. So copper would be the second one. Then the order it is been asked, arrange A, B, C, D in the decreasing order of reactivity. Now B is the highest reactive. B is the highest reactive. After that, displacement takes place by A. So A would be the another one. After A, we can have C. C has displacement. And the least reactive is D. The least reactive is B. Oxidation is when oxygen combines with other elements. Reduction is the opposite. Example, 2H2 plus O2 gives H2O. Hydrogen is oxidized, oxygen is reduced. Which chemical process is used for obtaining a metal from its oxide? Metal from its oxide. So oxide is given, it is already oxidized. So if you want to remove oxygen from it, what kind of reaction is required? Reduction is required. So here for the first case, you will have reduction. In the given reaction, which species is oxidized? What is oxidized over here? Obviously, hydrogen is being oxidized. So H2. And which species is reduced? So other than H2 is oxygen. So O2 is being reduced. if four molecules of hydrogen combine with oxygen, how many molecules of water are formed? How many molecules of water are formed? So first of all, the simple thing is, what you could do is H2 plus O2 gives H2O. And if you balance it, this is this would be the balancement of it. This would be the balance equation of it. Okay. Now here it has been said that four molecules of hydrogen. So here already we have two molecules, but it has been reacting with oxygen. Now they have not said how many oxygens are there. Okay, so we can have, for your requirement, whatever number of oxygen you can take, you can consider it as. So if you multiply this whole equation by 2, what will you get? 4H2 plus 2O2 gives 4H2O. Okay, so 4 molecule of hydrogen reacting with 2 molecule of oxygen provides 4 molecules of water. But even though you will be wrong over here. Why is that so? Because combined with only oxygen, it has been said, only oxygen. So 1 molecule of oxygen they are saying. So if you are increasing number of amount of hydrogen, but you have limited amount of oxygen, then after usage of all those oxygen, that hydrogen will remain as it is. It will not be used. It will not be reacted. So if there is only 1 oxygen, 2 molecules of hydrogen gas will be used, and with the help of it, you will get 2 molecules of water. So your answer should be 2 molecules, not 4 molecules. 2 molecules. Eventually, if we see it mathematically, you should have 4 as your answer. But here we have a constraint of only 1 molecule of oxygen. We have constraint of 1 molecule of oxygen. If we do not have that constraint, it could be, you can take number of molecules, what you want to consider it as. Then you can have your answer as 4 molecules. Then it's fine. But as of now, they have just said about hydrogen molecules. They have not said anything about oxygen molecules. It is only 1 molecule of oxygen. So for that, you will have 2 molecules of water. State 2 reasons for carbon formation. Forming a large number of compound. Why does carbon form compounds? Mainly by covalent bonding. First of all, 2 reasons of carbon forming a large number of compounds. Quite obvious reason. It is tetravalency and catenation. These are the 2 main properties of carbon which makes it different from other compounds. Hence, it is more liable to have covalent bond. Sulfur is also a such kind of compound which can have catenation and tetravalency. But carbon is more suitable for it because it is a smaller atom. Okay, so catenation and tetravalency, mainly by covalent bonding. It is sharing of electrons. That is how it forms a covalent bond. Having low melting and boiling point. Why do it has low melting and boiling point? Because intermolecular forces between the compound is less. Covalent bond is not as strong as ionic bond. Covalent bond is not as strong as the ionic bond. Ionic bond is the strongest one. Then there comes covalent bond, and then there comes van der Waals bond. Okay, but over here we are in carbon, mostly it is a covalent bond, so it does not provide stronger bond. Hence, it has low melting and boiling point. With equation explains sodium added to ethanol. When sodium added to ethanol, what will happen? Na plus, sodium is Na. When it has been reacting with ethanol, ethanol is C2H5OH. What will happen? Sodium will displace hydrogen. So you will have C2H5ONA, and then hydrogen gas has been released, quite obvious. hydrogen gas has been released. Okay, so that is the reaction. Next one, the second one is ethanol burns in oxygen. Ethanol burns in oxygen. So what will it provide? Carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide and water. These are the two products when ethanol has been, alcohol has been released when alcohol has been burned. Okay, so carbon dioxide has been released and water has been released. Draw two structure isomers of butane. Butane. So butane, first of all, what does butane is? It is of 4 carbon, CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. This is the first structure. Now if you will have the isomer of it, you can have CH3, CH2, CH3, CH2. So these are the two structural isomers of butane. Draw structure of propanol and propanon. Propanol and propanol. Propanon. So propanol, it is an alcohol. Propane has 3 carbons in it. So CH3, CH2, C, H2OH. That would be the propanol. And for propanon, it is a ketone group. So CO would be in between. So CH3 and CH3. Name the third homologous of alcohols and aldehydes. Third homologous of alcohols. So for third homologous, it will be propanol for the alcohol, and for aldehyde, again it is also in the last bond, so not a problem over there. It will be propanol. So propanol and propanol and propane, propanol. These are the two homologous of it. Name the given structure over here. It is a cyclic group. It is a cyclic group having double bonds in an alternate positions. So what is it? It is benzene or cyclohexane. It is a benzene. Next, CH3, CH2, CH, CH2. There are 4 carbons over here. So it is but there is a double bond over here. So it is not butane, it is butene. It is the first, so it will be butene. Show covalent bond formation in nitrogen molecule. In nitrogen molecule, covalent formation. So it is just 2 nitrogens. Between 2 nitrogens, there is a triple bond. That is the covalent structure of nitrogen. Clear? Which of the following statements are correct? Chemical name of bleaching powder is calcium oxychloride. Bleaching powder is used for sterilization of drinking water. Bleaching powder is alkaline in nature, hence it is used as antacids, and bleaching powder is manufactured by Hessen-Clever processes. Okay, so among these statements, which of the following statement is used, or which of the following statement is incorrect? So obviously your statement A, B and D, these 3 statements are correct. Okay, the only false statement over here is C, bleaching powder is used as antacid. Okay, so that is the incorrect statements. Otherwise all 3 statements given below above are correct one. Next, which of the following given statements is correct or wrong? Detergent with less blanching in the molecule is degraded more easily than branched chain detergents. Okay, so less branching and more branching, it has been said, and it has been said it is less branch molecules is degraded more easily. As it is less branched, so degradation will be much faster. That is correct, because branching because it is less branching, so it will be taken out easily from last points or from the first and the last positions. The compound will start breaking down easily. So that is the correct statement. And statement 2, soaps are 100% biodegradable. That is also correct. Soaps are biodegradable. We use that in our daily life. So it is a biodegradable substance. Consider the following compounds: HCl, C2H5OH, C6H12O6 and H2SO4. Which of the following compound does not conduct electricity in solution? Does not conduct electricity. So it should only be a covalent bond. It should not be an ionic bond. So among these, HCl is an ionic bond. It is H positive, Cl negative. So this cannot be the answer. Then again, H2SO4, it is an acidic in nature. H2 negative 2, H2 negative 2 and SO4. SO4 is, sorry, H is positive in nature and SO4 is negative in nature. So here also it is an ionic bond. So these two cannot be the bond which conduct electricity. Do not conduct electricity. So this both of them, as they are ionic bonds, so they conduct electricity. Hence these two cannot be the answer. Hence what are the answers? C2H5OH and C6H12O6. So second and third, which option second and third? D option. D option is the second and third. Okay. Next, match the following with the correct response. The bond which holds cation and anion. The bond which holds cation and anion. Just now we discussed HCl and H2SO4. They have positive ion and negative ion. Okay. So one is known as anion, one is known as cation. So it is an ionic bond. So over here one will be matched with A itself. Second one, self-linking property of carbon. Self-linking, carbon linking with the carbon itself. What property you can say it is? The property is catenation. Denatured alcohol. Denatured alcohol. Which is denatured alcohol? Pyridine. Pyridine is the denatured alcohol. And synthetic detergent. Synthetic detergents are non-biodegradables. Okay, so D would be the third one. Aluminum is used for making cooking utensils. Which properties are responsible? First, good thermal conductivity, good electric conductivity, or ductile, and they have high melting point. Okay, why we among these four properties, because of which properties are we using aluminium? Among these four properties, which property is useful for us? So obviously good thermal conductivity. As they have good thermal conductivity, we are able to cook faster. They could capture heat properly, and because of that capturing of heat, we can use that heat to cook our food. So good thermal conductivity it should have. Electric conductivity, not required. Ductility, there is no reason for it to be ductile. We do not want to eat metal, we just want to use it for cooking food. And then high melting point. If it is been in the high temperature, then because of the high temperature it should not melt down, otherwise it will contaminate the food. So high melting point, which is allowing it to cook food at high temperature. So only first and fourth, hence our option D. He name and formula, the name, the is in the T is not there. The name and formula of the third member of homologous series of alkyne is. Third member means the first would be CH4. CH4. So that is not considered as the first member. The first member is considered as CH3, CH3. This is the first member. In this first member, we are to add CH2. So this is the first, this is the second. So our third would be CH3, CH2, CH2, and CH3. So this is the third one with 4 carbons, so it should be butane. Yes, it is alkyne, it is. Okay. So triple bond. That is why we have third one over here, because we cannot have triple bond in the first case. That is why we have, because it is alkyne, we cannot have this. So CH so triple bond is required. And over here 1C CH alkyne. Okay, so over here butane will be the answer. Okay, H is there. Here also H is required. Okay, correct. Okay, so yeah, our answer should be butane. Metal oxide generally react with acid, but few oxides of metals also react with bases. Such metallic oxides are MgO, ZnO, Al2O3 and CaO. Okay. So which reacts both as acid and base, basic oxides and acidic oxides. What are those known as? Amphoteric oxides, which reacts as both. So among these, what are the amphoteric oxides? Quite obvious, mostly we will use ZnO and Al2O3. So second and third, ZnO and Al2O3, which are amphoteric oxide, we usually consider them, usually use them. Okay, so they are amphoteric in nature, which can be used in acidic form also and basic form also. They can behave both as acidic oxide and as basic oxide when required. Next, AlCl3 is a basic salt, and AlCl3 is a salt of strong acid and a weak base. So first statement, that is quite wrong. It is not a basic salt because it is strong acid and a weak base. The salt of strong acid and weak base. Salt is acidic in nature. It is not basic in nature. Salts are acidic in nature. So this is true, A is false. Salt X commonly used in bakery products on heating gets converted into another salt Y, which itself is used for removal of hardness of water, and a gas Z is evolved. The gas Z, when passed through the lime water, turns it milky. Identify X, Y and Z. Okay, so it's quite obvious. We have this particular experiment in our textbook. So what will be our X? It would be baking soda, NaHCO3. Our X is NaHCO3. What will be our Y? Our Y would be sodium carbonate, Na2CO3, washing soda. What will be our Z? That is carbon dioxide has been released. Two grams of silver chloride is taken in a china dish and placed in sunlight. What will be your observation? Silver chloride. Again, the same type of question. Same question is been asked in a different form. So over there, they have already, in the previous question, they already provided that what kind of color it would be, and they wanted to know the color of silver chloride. Okay, before it burns into sun. Right now we need to find what will be the observation after the sunlight, exposure to sunlight. So it will turn into gray, turns to gray in color. Write the balanced chemical equation. AgCl plus Cl2 gives AgCl when exposed to heat provides Ag and Cl2. Okay. If balancing is been asked, then you can have 2 over here, 2 over here. Identify the type of chemical reaction. Photochemical decomposition. Photochemical decomposition is the process through which this particular thing happens. Reaction takes place. Translate into a balanced chemical equation. Barium chloride react with aluminum sulfate to give aluminum chloride and a precipitate of barium sulfate. Okay, barium chloride is required. So we are just to write chemical reaction. So BaCl2, barium chloride, with reacting with aluminum sulfate, Al2SO4, but it is thrice, and then when these two reacts, they will have displacement reaction, or can say double displacement reaction. So it will be BaSO4 plus AlCl. Okay. So this is the reaction between them. So AlCl3 it should be, not AlCl2, AlCl3. AlCl3, not AlCl2. Well, yeah. Then you can have the balancing of it. Yes, M is an element which may be one out of this given 4 elements. It shows the following properties. With the help of properties, we have to guess among these 4 atoms which atom it is. First, it is a metal, so it is M2O3. So you can consider that the valency of that metal should be 3, positive 3. Then and then only it provides, because if M is plus 3, oxygen is negative 2, then they cross multiply and provide Mg2O3. So the valency of this metal should be positive 3. Okay. So here sodium and copper are directly been cancelled out. Only aluminium and iron are left. M2O3 is not affected by water. It corrodes easily. This statement itself, it corrodes easily. Iron reacting with oxygen, what happens? The corrosion takes place faster. So with the help of that statement, Fe. So in this kind of questions, the very best way is to discard from the options. It will help you. Now I am not required to see other options only. I can directly say that my given metal is iron. So discarding process helps a lot. Define isomers. They are nothing but different kinds of structure of a same compound. Same compound, when they are been shown in different kinds of structures, then they are isomers of one another. 2 compounds which with molecular formula C3H6O, write name and structural formula of them. 2 compounds. So propanol and propanol, you can have these 2 compounds having C3H6O. Now this is not the molecular structure of it, molecular formula of it. you cannot consider it as molecular formula. Structure, if you will draw, then they are different in one another. They're different than one another. Conservation, conversion of ethanol into ethene and propanol into propanoic acid. So for ethanol to ethanoic acid, ethanol to ethene, alcohol has been burned down and it is been removed with the help of heat, and it will convert into ethanol converts into because of heating it will be converted into this, and then propanol and into propanoic acid. Propanol it converts into propanoic acid. So for that, again using oxygen can heat that, it will convert into propanoic acid. The same kind of reaction it is. Next, those reaction in which two compounds react by an exchange of ions to form two new compounds are called double displacement reaction. That is correct. This is a case based question. A double displacement reaction usually occurs in solution and one of the product begins being insoluble, precipitates out or separates as a solid. Any reaction in which an insoluble solid called precipitate is formed that separates from the solution is called a precipitation reaction. The reaction in which acid or acidic oxide reacts with base or basic oxides to form salt and water is called neutralization reactions. For example, NaOH reacted with H2SO4 gives Na2SO4 plus H2O. This is just a statement. Here are the questions. Write when hydrogen sulfide gas is passed through a blue solution of copper sulfate, a black precipitate of copper sulfide is obtained and the sulfuric acid so formed remains in the solution. Mention the type of reaction. Quite obvious, precipitation reactions, as we have discussed in the earlier paragraph. It has already been showing you what kind of reaction it should be. So precipitation, balance the following chemical reaction. PbNO3 twice plus Ki reacts and provides PbI2 plus KNO3. So this is also a reaction mainly being used, mostly it is been asked, but the simple answer for it is 2 over here and 2 over here. If you will balance it, you will get these two positions where you are required to add 2. Barium chloride is reacted with ammonium sulfate, forms barium sulfate and ammonium chloride. Barium is now reacted with sulfate and ammonia is reacted with chloride. So it is a double displacement reaction. Which type of chemical reaction represents this reaction? Quite obvious, it is a double displacement. Double displacement reaction. Identify A in the following reaction. In this given reaction, we have to identify what is the A. So this compound, aluminum chloride reacting with NH4OH gives NH4Cl. So again over here double displacement takes place. Chlorine is being displaced by hydroxide OH, so it will give Al thrice, AlOH thrice. This would be our answer. Which of the following statement is not correct? Some metals reacts with acids to give salt and hydrogen. Some metals react with acids to give salt and hydrogen. Okay. Next statement is some non-metals oxides reacts with water to form an acid. All metals oxide reacts with water to give salt and acid. All metal carbonates reacts with acid to give a salt, water and carbon dioxide. So quite obvious from these four statements that the third statement is wrong. Okay, metal oxides forms bases, not salt and acid. They do not provide salt and acid, they provide base. So this is the correct answer, C. In the following statements, which is the statement is, this is again same question it is. Copper utensils slowly loses their shiny brown surfaces and gain a green coat on prolonged exposure to atmospheric air. This is due to the formation of coating of. Copper gets converted into air. Green coat it is. Now mainly we will say it is oxidation. Yes, it is oxidation, but it is not just oxygen, carbon dioxide or carbon oxide. There is copper oxide. It is carbon also. Carbon gas also reacts with copper. So it will provide copper carbonate, not copper oxide. Mainly we will say it is a copper oxide, but it is a copper carbonate. Match the following with the correct responses. Catenation among 4, what could provide catenation? Obviously B, carbon compounds provide catenation. Alkane among this butene, ethine and ethane, which one is alkane? So N and N. Second is D. Alkene, butene would be the alkene, and fourth one alkyne. Ethine is alkyne. Ethine would be our alkyne. A student adds one big iron nail, each in 4 test tubes containing solution of zinc sulfate, aluminum sulfate, copper sulfate and iron sulfate. A reddish brown coating was observed only on the surface of iron nails, which was added in the solution of. Among these 4 solutions, a coating of red iron, where it would be found? Where it would be found? Now, zinc, iron cannot displace iron itself, so there will be no reaction over here. Zinc, aluminum and copper. Among these 3, as we already learned that copper is the most reactive one than the iron, so copper will react with it and it will provide, and that will provide copper sulfate. So copper sulfate solution will be used in order to have oxidation of iron. It will be iron sulfate and then copper will be released. The number of sheds required to write the electronic configuration of potassium. To write electronic now in this kind of questions, mainly they will provide what is the atomic number of it. Mainly atomic numbers are given in the questions, but below 20 they won't provide you atomic number below 20. So obviously it is 19 as atomic number is given to us. So what will be this electronic configuration? 2 in first shell, then in second shell it will be 8, so 8 and 2 10, remaining are 9. In third shell it will be again 8, and fourth shell it is 1. So number of shells which are required over here would be 4. Which one of the following natural sources contains oxalic acid? So naturally containment of oxalic acid is obviously in tomatoes. Tomatoes provide oxalic acid. On adding H2SO4 to water, the resulting aqueous solution gets corrosive. This assertion and reason. Which statement is correct? So first statement is true. Second statement, hydronium ions are responsible for corrosive action. That is also correct. So both assertion is true, reason is also true, and reason is correct explanation of assertion. Reason is correct explanation of assertion. Next, a student working in a laboratory added some water to a syrup liquid taken in the tube. The tube immediately cracked and the liquid which escaped out of it produces blisters on the skin of the student. What actually happened? What could have happened because of that liquid? So what kind of liquid it should be? Now what the test tube directly broke down. That is only possible when the temperature of the liquid which was present in it was either been cooled down faster or it has been burnt down faster. So water is cold in nature, so it is only going to make it less temperature for the given substance. Hence, it should be a concentrated acid. Okay. So because of that concentrated acid, it could possible that it could be broken down. Test tube could be broken down. Now, concentrated acid could be anything. Okay, it is always an exothermic reaction when concentrated acid reacts with water. Now, it could be concentrated HCl, it could be concentrated H2SO4. So, but you can have it as just concentrated acid. Not requirement to give any specific answer or specific acid. You can have in general it is a concentrated acid. Although if more information is also given to us, with the help of that we can have our answer as such. But right now, as it is nothing clear, you can say just concentrated acid. Silver chloride kept in a china dish turns grey to sunlight. Same question it is, I guess. Write the color of silver chloride when it was kept in the china dish. Same question. How can a layer of aluminum oxide on an aluminum object be made thicker? What is this process called? Thickening of aluminum oxide. So, what kind of process it is known as? It is known as anodization. What is it known as? Anodization. With the help of this process, with the help of anodization, what do? We increase the level, increase the layer of aluminum oxide on the aluminum with the help of anodization. We just provide electricity to it on one place, on one anode and cathode. Aluminum is being placed and we are just providing electricity. So, anodization. Butane has both carbon bond as well as carbon hydrogen bonds. Draw its structure formula and state the number of CH bonds and CC bonds in it. So, quite simple. Butane, C, these are the carbon bonds. These are the carbon hydrogen bonds. So, number of carbon bonds are 1, 2 and 3. 3 carbon bonds and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. 9 carbon hydrogen bonds are present. Sorry. 10 carbon. This will be 10 and this will be 3. You have 2 carbon compounds with the molecule carbon C3H6O. Name the compound with this formula and also draw its structural formula. We have 2 carbon compounds with molecular formula C3H6O. So, 3 carbons are present. Hydrogens are 6. I can make such structure. Also, I can make structure where these are the 2 main structures which you can have of where the chemical formula is C3H6 and 1 oxygen. Over here it is propane, it is propanol, propanol you can say, propanol, because this is double bond in it. 2 3 4 2 3 4 correct. Correct. And over here triple bond. How this could be correct? 3 and single bond it should be. So this is wrong. We cannot have this as our answer. Ketone group, है ना, ketone group. With the help of ketone group and with the help of alcoholic group, we can have this two. 3 4 5 6 correct. Okay. Consider the molecular formula of carbon compound A and B given below. C3H8 and C3H6O. Identify the functional group. C3H8A. C3H8A, if you will observe, so this will be our first compound, and from the compound you can say it is propanol. So this is a propanol, and the second group C3H6O. So only 6. Acha. So ketone group. Ketone group C3H6O. So this would be our ketone group. Identify the functional group in A and B. Write their structure. Are one A and B isomers? No, they are not the isomers of one another. They are quite different from one another. They are complete different compounds. What happens when alkaline KMnO4 is added drop by drop into a test tube containing warm propanol? So it is going to oxidize propanol and it will convert itself into propanoic acid. Propanol gets converted into propanoic acid. Write the chemical equation for the reaction and state the role of alkyne KMnO4. It is just a catalyst. KMnO4 acts as a catalyst. It is converting propanol into propanoic acid. Okay, I guess this was it. We tried to cover as many as questions we could and try to cover the concepts to be used in this particular chemistry portion, which will be helpful for you in the exam. Again, try to remember as many as reactions you could, because reactions are the must from chemistry part. In the first chapter, it's fine for the first chapter, but acid, base and salt, from acid, base and salt, from carbonated compound, the important part is the isomers, then nomenclature, that is important for the carbonated compound. Okay, but acid, base and salt mainly for reaction, acid, base and salt, metals and non-metals little bit. Okay, so over there also. Okay, wish you a very good examination that you give tomorrow, and practice as much as you could. Okay, thank you.